Now, the West has hit Russia with several rounds of sanctions, and to counter this, Moscow has hit back at America diplomatically. Top American leaders, including the president, have now been sanctioned by Russia. The list includes the American President Joe Biden himself, the Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, and other key members of Team Biden. Now, Joe Biden's son Hunter Biden has also been sanctioned. And what is interesting is that Hillary Clinton, who's a former Secretary of State, also figures in the sanctions list. They've all been banned from entry into Russia on the basis of reciprocity. However, Russia's foreign ministry has said that the door for talks and diplomacy still remains open, especially for official contacts with the sanctioned individuals. Now, the foreign ministry has also added that it is the consequence of the extremely Russophobic policy that has been pursued by this current American administration that has resulted in Russia hitting the United States and its administration with these sanctions. Now, the White House, of course, is making light of these sanctions, stating that no one from the Biden administration is planning to visit Russia anytime soon, nor, according to Jen Psaki, has anyone within the Biden administration got accounts in Russian banks, and therefore none of these sanctions will have any impact on the Americans listening.
First note that President Biden is a junior, so they may have sanctioned his dad. May he rest in peace. The second piece I would say is that won't surprise any of you that none of us are planning tourist trips to Russia. None of us have bank accounts that we won't be able to access, so we will forge ahead.
All right, so that is what the Americans are saying, that it is Joe Biden who's been sanctioned, which would be Joe Biden's father, because the incumbent president is Joe Biden Jr. Meanwhile, in a separate statement, Russia's foreign ministry has also announced sanctions against 313 Canadians, including the incumbent Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and several of his ministers. Moscow has not specified the exact nature of the measures, but has only described it as personal sanctions and a stops list, stating that they're based on the principle of reciprocity. Earlier, the West had imposed some very crippling sanctions on Russia over its invasion into Ukraine, with measures directly targeting President Vladimir Putin and his ministers, including Sergei Lavrov. Several Russian billionaires and also Russian banks have also been hit with sanctions. And our correspondent Susan Tehrani has been tracking this story very closely for us from New York and has sent us this report. Listen in.
While White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki on Tuesday shrugged off Russian sanctions against top U.S. officials and even took a jab against Moscow for inadvertently sanctioning Joe Biden's father, since the president is a junior, and it's very unlikely that the Kremlin sanctions will have the same adverse economic effects against the United States as those imposed by the West against Russia. Still, this retaliatory move by the Kremlin really indicates the deep division between the United States and Russia. For example, prohibiting America's top diplomat Anthony Blinken from ever setting foot on Russian soil really indicates that perhaps relations between the two sides will remain frosty for some time. Right now, it's due to Russia's invasion against Ukraine. Will it have effect and consequences beyond that? For example, when the two sides decide to negotiate or continue negotiations on Iran's nuclear deal, negotiate on counterterrorism or other international issues. It's yet to be seen. Also, the Kremlin has signaled that more sanctions are coming. It's yet to be seen whether or not those will be on individuals or American companies, and whether or not it will be able to rally the support of other countries like China in imposing them. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION. World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.